Welcome everybody to what is going to be an in-depth look at slash playthrough of the Bloodborne alpha test, I guess. Super excited to be bringing this to you. I wanted to do this weeks ago already, but then as you may have heard, they had to postpone the last day of the alpha test because people were finding stuff that they weren't intended to find. So now, today, very last chance to play it, and I'm super happy to be sharing this now. Previously recorded like gameplay and planned on doing like commentary over top of that. So post commentary, I guess is what you call that. But decided this way, probably going to be able to go more in depth and talk about specific things as they're happening on screen. So let's jump right in, right? Let's stop the introductory blah. Let's select probably my favorite class, this one right here, and play some Bloodborne, which, to maybe give you a quick too long didn't watch right here at the start, I was very excited before playing the alpha. Now I'm even more excited, and it's absolutely a no-brainer to anybody that enjoyed the Souls franchise. Those people have to get this game, period, and everybody else should also very much give this a shot. Much more so than with Dark Souls. You can draw similarities between other games and this, I think. I'm getting like a Resident Evil 4 from this, I'm getting like a Castlevania from this, which is also, I guess, partially true for Dark Souls, but what I'm saying is you probably want to check this out. Right, and now we're gonna talk about it a little bit. So, let's maybe jump in with some mechanics, right? What has changed? How does it play? What do the buttons do? Let's just give you a quick rundown. So, this is your standard dude right here. Light attack R1, strong attack R2, which sometimes can be charged like this. You can't do that with every weapon, I don't think, at least with the big or like extended version of your weapon. You can't really do that charge up attack. But yeah, then L1 is very much switching to the different mode, which is really cool. And also, I guess, already a big difference to how Dark Souls played. Of course, there, L1 was using your shield. There's no shields in the game, so this is what you're now switching your weapons with. And R2 would fire a shot, which I guess I'm gonna do. I'm gonna find more ammunition anyway. And as you can see, those bullets actually do fly very slowly, which is super cool, right? It's just a very neat design decision, where they totally do want to give you a chance to miss, I guess, when you're firing, but also to dodge when the enemy is firing at you, which will happen. And I like that they didn't go for like full-on realism, that bullets flying like super fast in the game, but instead made this very conscious gamey decision to allow you to dodge them. Anyway, what else is there? X is just picking stuff up and interacting with stuff. Yeah, square is just using your items. Very similar to Dark Souls. Circle is rolling around, which is now a much longer roll. And holding down is sprinting, and also then pushing that same circle button while sprinting is jumping. You can't jump with L3, which is a little unfortunate. I really like that in Dark Souls 2. But anyway, I guess I don't mind it too much. Now, here's maybe my only kind of gripe with it. Triangle is healing. And that in and of itself is not really too big of an issue, right? Just a button dedicated to healing. I'm okay with that. My problem is just that I played the butt crap out of... butt crap? That's not even... But anyway, played the... You know what? Out of the previous Souls games. Or the Souls games, I guess. This not necessarily being a sequel to that, or in the same franchise or whatever you want to call it. Because there you of course switch your weapon mode, you could almost say, from one-handed to two-handed, which is essentially what you're now doing with L1, right? One-handed mode, two-handed mode. There's a few weapons where that doesn't change like that. For example, there's a sword connected to that first class in the alpha, I believe, where it stays a one-handed weapon. But it just sometimes fucks me up, right? Because I hit triangle to do that, but then he heals himself, and then I effectively wasted a blood vial, which is not necessarily the nicest thing, because those are very precious. So, there's a gripe there, but that is probably my only concern, and also, I guess, you're gonna get used to it, after playing it for a little while. So, let's now actually make some progress. I've been fucking around for way too long, but hopefully that is fine with you guys. I mean, in the end, I do want to give you an in-depth look at the game, and stuff like that is probably very interesting, at least for people that have played previous games from Software / Souls games. It's always weird to kind of like find a phrase that encompasses everything that I'm trying to say, but I don't know. It's just, it's a little odd thing with Demon Souls not necessarily being that whole Dark Souls thing, but then Dark Souls kind of being very much based on Demon. I don't know. You know what I'm saying. But this is Bloodborne, and it's super exciting. What I also do want to definitely talk about is kind of more how the combat then works, right? Because, I mean, buttons are mostly the same. Does it play the same? And that answer is no. It does immediately feel similar, but it doesn't feel familiar, right? Because here the focus is much more on kind of deciding whether to be aggressive or not, and that is also partially true for Dark Souls, I would say. But here there's just a little bit more risk connected to, well, either side, really, because of course you don't have a shield, so that is more of a risk when it comes to being defensive. And then also with the addition of a regain system, which just more or less means that you can regain health after being hit by then attacking the enemy back. Also then adds more risk to the aggressive side, right? Because you are encouraged to be aggressive at that point. They basically tell you, hey, if you now go in and attack them a bunch, you might get some health back. You might not have to spend a blood vial after all. And that is such a cool design decision in my opinion. At first people were really skeptical about that because of course at that point they're just adding another way of healing yourself, right? And that was already something that was maybe not the coolest thing about Dark Souls 2 with the life gens and stuff like that, adding that secondary way of healing yourself. But here I really like it because it is super risky, right? It's like this big risk-reward situation, and they don't give you a lot of time either. So you can go in if you feel strong enough and skilled enough. You can absolutely go in and get that health back. But chances are you're gonna be hit a bunch and maybe even die, which has happened more than once in this alpha. It might even happen during this recording, quite frankly, but hopefully that's not going to be the case. I really do want this to be this one-shot thing. Speaking of which, I should maybe note that I've played through it, like defeated the boss and all, maybe only like 2 times, but have sat down and tried out all the different classes. So maybe as a whole, I've had like 5 or 6 or 7 runs of the content that is available right here. Also, one thing that you will totally notice is that there's a lot more enemies that you're dealing with. And in Dark Souls, I wouldn't feel good about that, right? I wouldn't feel good about them dropping like 10 enemies on me at a time. But here, with the slight changes to the combat, I really enjoy it, actually. I really enjoy managing the different enemies and different numbers of enemies, too. Because you just have a little bit more variety. I guess that is probably like or at least one of the main reasons why I'm enjoying it a little bit more. Just dealing with more. You have a little bit more variety in the sense that you can attack all the enemies in so many different ways, right? Because you have all these weird attacks. R2 does this, by the way, if the weapon is long like this. And L1 is in the other direction. So you have yeah, like one shoulder button for each direction, which is really cool. that they allow you that control, right? And yeah, another aspect that really kind of just adds to the enjoyment of the combat is that it moves a lot quicker. The rolls are much longer. You have to rely a lot more on staying away from the enemies. So it's oftentimes not just hiding behind a shield. I mean, I guess, quite frankly, there is no hiding behind a shield in the game, but that basically just emphasizes my point, right? You have to rely on your dodging, on regaining your health back and stuff like that in order to overcome the challenges. And there's enough enemy variety already here in the alpha that it doesn't become monotonous. There's guys with shields that will just block your fucking attacks. You're gonna have to wait for those or keep attacking them until they stagger and allow you to attack them then. There's enemies with like long range attacks, enemies that just wail around with like the torches and stuff like that. And bigger enemies which we're gonna encounter later on, dogs that sometimes like go berserk and just freak out and attack you real quick. There's a lot of variety there. And I mean, it's only the alpha. And I mean, they do need to like add a lot more. This is not enough despite being already kind of okay. But then again, they're probably going to do that if Dark Souls is any indication. So, this is now going to be really interesting. We have a really organic situation going on right here. People just walking around, you saw that earlier too. And we are now going to have to really figure out a way of dealing with this, which is not easy. And I guess organic is a funny word, because that is something I would really stress when it comes to Bloodborne. And it's really a word that I want to use when describing Bloodborne 2. Because not only graphically, I think it's more organic with just stuff lying around all over the place. There's no like barren corridors like there were in the recent like Dark Souls 2 and I guess also DLC first and foremost, especially in that Ivory King one. I found that some corridors are just that. They're just the corridors, there's nothing else there. Here you have so much stuff and that just adds character to the environment, right? And it gives you a better game feel, I would say. Just a little bit more immersion because stuff is just all over the place. But not only that is what I find so organic. Also, the way enemies move, and they also talk to you, which is really weird at first. They sometimes like call you a beast or whatever, which I mean there might be some implications on the lore there, but I really can't comment on much when it comes to this demo in regards to the lore because there's very little in here. No way of looking at item descriptions and stuff like that. But it's super interesting, right? It feels like you're a little bit closer to what is happening. And that is, I guess, also part of, or partially because, oh god, okay, I'm gonna have to heal up real quick. Partially because it's a new game, right? I mean, when I first sat down and played Dark Souls, it was probably very similar to this, but we've kind of gotten used to how that works and how that plays and what you need to do. This is less like that. I mean, at least for now it is. So that just allows me to be a little bit more immersed in what is happening, and I really, really dig that. Right, okay, so there's a few more guys around. I do definitely want to kill that rifle person there. Let's try to do it. Let's try to do it with the one-handed attack and show off something that I haven't really done yet, which is the ability to switch to the different weapon mode mid-combo, which is crazy. So you can now do this kind of stuff, right? And that is so good. I really fucking love this. I really, really do. Because, I mean, one moment you might just be like Dyson's one guy up close with your stupid hand axe or whatever you want to call it. And I don't know, like 3 guys join him, and you can react to that. You can then immediately switch to your long range weapon, if you can even call it that, but the longer range weapon at the very least. and react to that decision, to that change in the scenario. And that I really like. Okay, so what we now have coming up here is one of those bigger enemies. Probably have seen him in the trailers already. And now what we're going to do is toy around with the shooting mechanic, which of course allows you to stagger enemies and deal more damage. It's not always super easy. Sometimes it is. Sometimes like every shot just works. But I've also often found myself just not being able to stagger him like I wanted to. But okay, that went really well. Also, I have played this a lot, so I better be successful at this. Should I pop? Probably gonna pop a blood vial. Alright, next enemy type right here. Freaking ravens. Which is such a cool design, I find, too. Because they're not your typical ravens. They don't fly around, really. They're like, I don't know. They're really just not very capable, I guess. But it just makes for a really interesting enemy. And like a unpredictable enemy, really. Because when I first saw them, first of all, I was scared shitless, right? Because I didn't see him. Because they're so dark, and this corner is kind of dark as well, and he's kind of killing me right now. Alright, let's drink a blood vial, or whatever he does with it. I guess he doesn't really drink it. But yeah, really cool enemy type. And also, Ragdoll confirmed. It's back, bitches. It's back. And amazing blood physics, or whatever you want to call this, and also graphics, I guess. Also very much in the game. And that is just another thing that I really need to stress. I mean, I've kind of hinted at it a few minutes ago, but the game looks really good. Not just with the detail, but also just overall graphics. I'm super excited to see different areas, right? Because we are now familiar with the look of this and what this is going to feel like, right? This very gothic-y, Victorian stuff. And that is cool, but of course a big aspect of previous Souls games was the variety that it offered you. I mean, in Dark Souls 1, for Christ's sakes, you had like Undead Burg, and then you had Crystal Cave. And I'm now just super curious to see what that's going to be like in Bloodborne. Because if it's all just this, which I don't think it is, or is going to be, maybe that's not going to be enough, you know. But if they are then able to keep finding new and interesting environments, that would be something I'm interested in, right? Because how can you now, with this change of setting, find really new and intriguing areas? I guess maybe in like a Dark Souls with the setting that it had, that kind of stuff is a little bit more easier, I'd almost say. Like a more like a medieval dark fantasy stuff, there's probably more stuff that you can find for this. I mean, here, maybe it's a little bit more limiting, the theme, but I really couldn't tell you. I mean, once again, if Dark Souls is any indication, they're gonna offer you a lot of variety, but that is just something I can't comment on so far. What else is there? I mean, we're approaching the boss at this point. But there's still so much, there's so many little details that I kind of want to talk about and feel the need to talk about, but then again, I don't really recall everything. And this fucker is just annoying the shit out of me, and I need to go away and find some time to heal. Alright, but what was I saying? Don't really know. I apologize, but anyway, we're now gonna go up here and cross the little bridge thing. And yeah, you may have seen that in the trailer already, but that is very much a huge-ass spider clinging to a tower, which I'm probably not gonna dig too much. Is anybody with me on that one? I don't think I'm gonna like that. Especially if you then have to fight that. But alright, the guy that you just saw, he's actually friendly. He's gonna help you fight the werewolves over there. He's actually already fighting them right now. So let's go join him and try to not aggro him. You can very much aggro him like you would be able to in like a Souls game or whatever. But here, not that. Oh god. Oh, he killed me! That is so bad! I didn't... oh my god. Bloodborne is tough as nails. Let me tell you that. A lot of people were skeptical about the difficulty, and even like people that played it were skeptical, like at cons or whatever, like at Gamescom and E3 or whenever they let you play it. I don't even remember really, but there they of course kind of adjusted the difficulty. I don't think that is the case with the alpha because I've been dying so many times. It's really, really tough at times. It's just a little bit more unforgiving, really. Like, it kills you so quick. And I don't know. I like it, but it also sometimes frustrates me, if I'm being honest. Especially when I'm trying to show off the damn game. Are we gonna really just rush through right now? That is usually not a wise decision. But I saw a friend do it once, so heck. I can probably do it as well. Whoa, 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 whoa. And I'm stuck and I'm dead. I'm not really gonna have to cut in this Bloodborne alpha. Don't make me cut. Make me run through now and then discuss the additional things, like the boss, which is coming up, and another few minor things. But I think the most stuff I have already said. I really like how it feels. I really like how it looks. There's a lot of potential here. There's so much potential here, especially, of course, with Miyazaki being back as the lead designer. This could be really big. And I'm super excited for its release in February. And also, do really want to say that I'm very grateful that I had the chance to try this alpha. The way they handed those out was, as far as I'm oh, yeah. Okay, let me actually now focus on this. Then I will continue my sentence, maybe. But alright, do not get stuck there. Instead, run. People will be firing pretty soon, which I'm not a big fan of. There's one guy dodging stuff pretty well so far. But yeah, the way they handed out the beta was just they messaged like random PlayStation Network users or members or whatever you want to call them. And I think I read something about how they took like your previous time spent with Dark Souls and Demon Souls into consideration. But I couldn't confirm that because I've not like platinumed either one of those, which supposedly, or at least was speculated, was a factor, but since I didn't, I don't really think it is, so who knows. Just very happy. And it's kind of cool, right, that I got to do this, or now am getting to do this, because of course also I can share this with you. So in the end, it's maybe not just me that gets to play the alpha, but instead a whole bunch of people. And hopefully you are enjoying this video, and hopefully you find it informative. But anyway, this is where we died last time. Let's not die like we did last time. Let's instead try to stagger one of these bitches. Come on, brother. Allow me to do some damage to your face. Your werewolf beast face. Who's the beast? Am I the beast? Yes, technically. I don't know. It's gonna be super interesting to find out about this world. I mean, see, that was also like somewhat of a negative about Dark Souls 2. You were already familiar with the concepts of the world, right? You were familiar with undead and being undead and what it means to be an undead and stuff like that. Here, that shit's gonna be different, right? And I'm super excited about that. Alright, this fucker we're just now gonna... Ooh! Annihilate! Please, there we go. A lot better. Okay. So my friend is probably gonna stand back. He tends to do that. I'm going to very quickly go down here. While it's maybe not advised, there was an enemy that I didn't get to kill last time, and I do want to do that today. It was like almost like kind of a crystal lizard, I guess I would have to call it. And I don't know what it... Oh. Shit. Well, I guess that answers that question. And by answers, I mean... I still don't know what that is and what killing it does. But there's only one in the alpha, and it just runs away like a crystal lizard would. So maybe it's similar. I couldn't confirm it, unfortunately. Alright. We are going to be able to open up a shortcut pretty soon here. Just going to have to go through this house right in front of me, and then the boss will be waiting for me at the end of this bridge thing, which I think is a bridge. Who knows? Alright. So, here's another thing that I wanted to talk about. They finally nailed torches. It's kind of funny. A lot of people complain about the torches in Dark Souls 2, including myself. This is kind of what I would have liked it to be like, because without a torch, this is fucking dark, right? And with the torch, it's pretty nice. And that is kind of what I would have liked to see in Dark Souls 2. Wouldn't you agree? I think it's pulled off a lot better here in Bloodborne, which I didn't even know was a thing, really. But it's super nice. And you know this guy if you watch the trailer, so what we're now gonna do is be smart and kill them. The guy in the wheelchair with the blunderbuss. What's that called even? Blunderbuss? Plus? Schluss? Fluss? I'm not good with like very specific terms sometimes, so hopefully you'll excuse me. Blunder. That's gonna be on my mind for the rest of this video. Jesus. Alright. Kill the guy, loot his friend's corpse, and open up the shortcut. So that if we die, we can just very, very casually go back and try the boss again. But, speaking of which, I've praised it a lot so far, Bloodborne. There's one aspect of the alpha, at least, that concerns me. Because here, in order to have a good shot at the boss, you almost kind of have to do it with your first run. When you have 6 Molotov cocktails and all the oil urns and what have you, then you have the best chances of defeating that fucker. Because if you die and if you wasted all the Molotov stuff in your initial attempt, well, chances are you're going to have to go back and farm for like 15 minutes in order to get all that stuff back. And, I mean, that was to some extent present in Dark Souls already, right? You had to sometimes farm in order to be successful at a boss. But I don't know. If you then had to farm, I would say it was never something that kind of felt kind of felt like it was necessary for the boss, right? You sometimes would then have to get like a level or something like that. But here, I would almost say that the Molotov is necessary for the boss fight. It's just very, very, very good to have. Like, really very good to have. And I wouldn't really want to take on the boss without the Molotovs. I don't really see myself surviving that. So, of course, I can't comment on how that's going to be in the final release, right? Because I don't know what items they're going to be that maybe then give you like similar attack power. But from what is in the game so far, you run out of that stuff very quickly, and you would have to go through some severe farming to get it back, which I don't know if I like. But of course, that will just have to be seen, right? Oh my god, I can't die to the crow. Can't die. Is it even a crow? Or raven? What's the difference, really? I'm not a big bird person. I do like my birds, don't get me wrong, but I'm not like an expert on them. Alright, and we're fast approaching the end of this video, and by that I mean the boss of this alpha. Okay, you probably know him already. I certainly do, and I'm now gonna try to attack him and hopefully beat him. It's not gonna be easy, and I'm really kind of scared. And I'm doing post-commentary because exactly what I said was gonna happen unfortunately did happen in that initial recording. I died again. Now what you're seeing is gameplay that I recorded actually like 2 weeks ago, and where I am going to beat this guy on the first try. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this cleric beast boss fight. Now making use of all the Molotovs, of all the shots that I have and stuff like that. As I was saying, I don't really know how to judge this, because I really absolutely do not like how it is set up in the alpha, right? It kind of forces you to farm, and that is not okay, I don't think, when it comes to items like this. In previous games, didn't mind it too much because you never had to farm those essentials, right? It was never like you absolutely needed this item to defeat the boss, and I guess it still isn't exactly that, but I wouldn't want to fight him without the Molotovs, as I was saying earlier. But anyway, other than that, it's a really cool boss fight, and also what I totally do want to stress is that it's probably not going to be anything we need to worry about in the final release of the game, right? Because there, the game world is probably going to be a lot more open, like it is in a Souls game. They seem to have those similar philosophies behind the game design, so it's probably going to be open. It's going to give you options. Here in the alpha, it's very linear, right? It's just, you start here, there's the boss, there's a few shortcuts that you can open, but it's mostly just this one path that you're going down. So we'll just have to see how that is then going to turn out. But yeah, to maybe now also already kind of conclude this little video, we all need to get Bloodborne, I think. We might have to do it. I mean, even if, right, it could theoretically happen that this game is disappointing. It could happen. I don't expect that, but it could, right? We need to be wary these days. A lot of games have disappointed as of late, so we need to be careful, right, when purchasing. But as I was saying a little bit earlier, I guess, this game has so much potential. I think with the new setting, they're going to be able to touch on a lot of cool things. As you may have realized earlier, I had a hard time thinking of different settings, and I know they're going to put different settings in there. I'm just super curious to see what those are going to be and how they're going to evolve the combat, right? Because as of right now, we don't know about any upgrades to the weapon. We just know that you can transform, and we know the 4 weapons that they showed off. Maybe a couple more from the trailers. I guess there was maybe a scythe in there as well, which is not in the alpha as far as I know. But a lot of stuff we don't know yet. We don't know anything about the menu, don't know anything about the story, at least nothing conclusive. I have no idea about how this game is going to be structured, right? Is it going to be like a hub thing? Are you just in this town and you can go off onto all these different spokes? We don't know. Is it similar to Demon Souls, maybe in the way it's set up, in that you have to like enter different portals to get to worlds? I guess maybe they answered that question at some point in some interview, but I'm not aware of anything, so let's just sit back, enjoy the couple of months before the release of Bloodborne, then get Bloodborne, and enjoy the shit out of that as soon as it comes out. I'm gonna get it as soon as it comes out. Hopefully they're gonna announce like a collector's edition, because I really would like to get one of those. But anyway, that more or less then concludes this. There's nothing more to the demo. You can now walk back and do other things, but this door is unfortunately locked from the inside, so no way for me to make any more progress, right? You can now just fight more guys. For example, fight that big dude that I have never killed before, but for the video, it's gonna be enough. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed what you saw. If you have any questions, make sure to ask them down in the comments. I do know most of the stuff that was going on in the alpha, so I can probably give you some insight on some of the stuff that I maybe forgot to cover here in this little look at. And yeah, with that being said, I'll catch you later, and get excited for Bloodborne, but don't get too excited because we don't want to have you be disappointed now, do we? I don't think we are, once again, but be careful. Tread carefully. Anyway, I'll catch you later.